Was it a dry run for a terror attack? 13 Middle Eastern men acting suspiciously on a Northwest Airlines flight in 2004. Even worse, reports now indicate what appears to be a lackluster response by just about every federal agency. So was this a prelude to another 9/11? Audrey Hudson, the Washington Times reporter who broke this story, it is great to have you back with us. This is shocking.
Yes, it is shocking, and you're right. They're continuing to play piñata with the elephant in the room.
Yeah, now, here's what happened. The Inspector General released a report. You got it because you guys had filed to have it released. It had been wholly redacted, and the TSA announced this today. They gave us this statement. The Inspector General report does not confirm a dry run. Rather, it validates an intra-agency post-flight investigation which concluded that the musicians were acting in a somewhat suspicious manner. There were no derogatory information found about these individuals, and their behavior, while odd, was not indicative of a dry run, and it goes on and on and on. But in your report, you indicate there are plenty of reasons to think these guys were suspicious. Like what?
Well, and there was plenty of problems that the government had, too, a lot of missteps. For example, when these passengers were detained on 29th, 12 of them were flying on expired visas. They later told me that the visas had been extended and they weren't expired. Well, that's not quite true. They were extended a week after the incident. When the FBI looked into it a month later, they found that 8 of the passengers were positive hits in the FBI's crime database. They also discovered that the promoter of this was supposedly a band from Syria, that the promoter was involved in another incident in January, a similar type probe with 8 other passengers, causing a commotion on board. And he was detained a third time in November later that year. However, what he was doing then was wholly redacted from the report.
Okay, and they also, in this statement that they gave to us, said that the behavior, while odd, was not indicative of a dry run. But this report indicates that there were major concerns. It says the Inspector General report shows air marshals had the group of men under surveillance before they boarded the plane. They approached the area of the gate together, then separated and acted as if they didn't know each other. And when they got on the plane, it got even stranger. What happened there?
It did get stranger. One passenger rushed towards the cockpit and then veered into the lab and spent 20 minutes in there. There was, of course, the passenger carrying the McDonald's bag. There was one passenger giving the thumbs up to another one who gave the, call it off. And then right before the plane landed, 4 of the men rushed to the rear of the plane, one in the lab, and one of the men was standing outside doing deep knee bends.
Now, the Federal Air Marshal Supervisor says that they didn't notice that the visas were expired and that they erroneously believed they were not legally entitled to run a background check. It sounds like there's a lot of finger-pointing here, and the news isn't getting out to the American people until you dig it up.
Well, and it took me a year to using the Freedom of Information Act to force the release of the report. It's still about a third redacted, so when TSA says, well, it doesn't say this, it doesn't say that, we don't know everything it says. We know about 2/3 of it, and it was very revealing and showed some missteps by government. And a lot of air marshals tell me that the men should have been detained.
Yeah, well, more great reporting from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Audrey Hudson, Washington Times Homeland Security reporter, and one of the folks who's out there trying to find out exactly what the threat is against all of us. Thank you.